Hey everybody, Fulcrum here. By now you've heard that Bob Iger is now coming back as CEO and Bob Chapek has been hired from the Walt Disney Company. And we're going to talk about that a little bit and what that might mean and what it means both on the outside and the inside. But just kind of update you is that Bob Chapek took over for Bob Iger, and Bob Chapek is kind of a money guy, let's just say that. It's really more about the numbers and the money than anything. And as we see here, Bob Iger is planned to put the decision making back in the hands of creatives. So essentially, kind of what that means is that, and talking to some Disney employees, insiders, is that what they say here is that it seems like this is a return to more democratic, people-focused work culture. There's still going to be some major restructuring going on, but it's likely further up the chain among the exec staff rather than the day-to-day folks. So basically the idea is that Chapek has had kind of like his minions, like Kareem Daniel, who also was let go, was basically his second. And they were kind of the money people. They were trying to make decisions based on profit. And keep in mind, I know that some of you out there are thinking like, well, Disney Corporation, everything's evil, which is fine. You can think that. I have no issue with people thinking that, like Disney, Amazon, all the big corporations. Of course, like their bottom line is like they need to make money, and they need their investors to show that there's money, there's profit, and they're always pretty much profiting. But it's like how much profit is the important part. But this really comes back to the culture of Disney and how Disney thrives in that way. When you think about it, of course, there's the Walt Disney era of like a lot of growth when it came to animation, when it came to developing the parks. Walt was that visionary, and then he had a lot of people on board that could make those visions come to life. And then you had the Eisner generation. Let's see, Eisner and I forget the other name now. Wells. Eisner and Wells. Then they kind of had that like next golden era. But a lot of that dealt with that idea that they really relied on the creatives and that imagination. And the fact that, as you can see here, a lot of what Iger does is trust in a lot of his people. That he really just puts a lot of that trust in the creative, talent-focused executives and employees rather than what's going to make the money. Now, I know the whole goal of the CEO is to make money, but I think this is where we get into that idea of where Disney actually thrives and what will actually create growth. Is I find that looking through the history of Disney, that most of that growth actually does come from those creative kind of Renaissance Disney time periods. And right now, ever since the pandemic times and coming back, it's really been focused on the bottom line. Essentially, like for example, the theme parks. I live down the street from Disneyland. Of course, I'm a park pass person, Magic Key holder now. And of course, I have been for years. But ever since coming back, it's basically we want you to pay more and get less. And that's essentially been what's happening. Everything from the passes to the amounts you get of food. And they keep raising the prices, but they're giving you less. The Genie Plus program is a worse version than Fast Passes and Max Passes, basically. Like the way that it functions in the app and the user interface with all of that is pretty terrible, I'll be honest, at least in my opinion. And I think with Iger in charge is that he's going to be able to trust a lot of the people to fix that. Now, what Iger will actually do when this all comes to fruition over the next like days, months, it's really hard to say what he will actually change because a lot of things have been implemented, so it's really hard to restructure all of it. So when it comes to the parks, who knows when it comes to Disney as a company, I think we're going to see more focus on Imagineering because basically the Imagineers have been kind of screwed over. Like a lot of them were let go. I know some Imagineers personally, and they had to find new jobs. a lot of the shows and entertainment side of the parks. Everybody had to find new employment. And of course, like the Imagineering location being moved to Florida as opposed to here in Southern California. And essentially they lost a lot of that. They lost a lot of that drive. They lost a lot of their people. There's been some retirements lately because of all of this. And although I don't think Iger is necessarily like the answer to everything, but compared to Chapek, who again was really just worried about the bottom line, the business side of things. And I think Iger is going to be good for the company, both creatively as well as financially. And if you've seen Disney stocks lately, they have definitely bounced back in the last couple days. So if you bought Disney stocks last week, well done to all of you. But again, I don't think this is going to necessarily change everything. I think we're going to see more growth, and I think there's going to be a lot of more creative avenues pushed on, like for example, movies and Disney Plus. And let's see, let's go into this just a little bit. What does he say? I asked Dana Walden, Anna Bergman, Jimmy Pitaro, I don't know all these names, and Christine McCarthy to work together to design a new structure that puts more decision-making back in the hands of our creative teams and rationalizes costs. And this will necessitate a reorganization of Disney media and entertainment distribution. It's a huge overhaul. I mean, they're upending everything. Basically, like they realized that nothing works. And from what I hear, there was basically kind of a revolt in the Walt Disney Company, kind of against Chapek. Now, keep in mind, Chapek, even though he was the CEO, like a lot of decisions that are going to be made are going to be based on like the committees, the CFOs, and everything else. And that Chapek can. It's possible that he was a little bit of the fall guy in some of this. But you really do need a visionary at the head of Disney to make a lot of this happen, like to know where to invest time, where to invest projects, where to take a company. Because if you're just basing things off of board meetings, then you're never actually going to get anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, and they've been ousting a lot of people, and really now that they're in a new quarter, they in the last couple weeks had their last quarterly earnings come out, and that's where like the stocks kind of fell. But I think this is going to help boost the next quarter, and this is all coming out before Disney Plus raises their prices, and they're trying to do a lot of promotion this week and next week to get subscribers in there. And I think this is going to really boost that. So the next quarter we see Disney come out with, it's going to I think explode a little bit, and I don't know how much of that is going to be actual change versus excitement in Iger. But again, they're not. It's not that they're not profiting. It's more that they're not profiting enough for what a lot of people are saying. Let's look at some more of this. Iger was none too fond of Chapek's strategy. Yeah, Iger and Chapek, from all the rumors, that they did not agree. They did not get along at all. In a world and business that is awash with data, it is tempting to use data to answer all of our questions, including creative questions. I urge all of you not to do that. This is a memo from 2021. Our goal is to have the new structure in place in the coming months. Oh, this is now. Without question, elements of DMED will remain, but I fundamentally believe the storytelling is what fuels this company, and it belongs at the center of how we organize our businesses. And that's been the key to Disney through all of these golden eras is that storytelling. Yeah, I mean it's going to fuel Disney, and they're going to become more of what some of you might think of the monster company that they are. But I think it's going to allow for a lot more interesting storytelling in everything that we're doing. I think we're going to see, hopefully see more representation in that, and I don't want to hear anything to do with wokeness or anything like that. I think representation matters. I think everybody needs to be able to see themselves visually on media, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from. Seeing a bit of yourself, I think, is kind of at the core of what Disney should be, and it's been quelled for a while since then. What do we got? But yeah, he sent out a big memo to the company, and I've been talking to some of the employees in the last couple days, and like everybody's ecstatic, everybody's excited that there's going to be change. Basically, the kind of work environment the last couple years has really felt stifled, and I think a lot of employees felt, first of all, that they had no worth, that they weren't able to really create anything or do anything or go anywhere. It was really kind of that office environment where you're just trying to get by. But now I think that excitement is back. What this means for things like Star Wars, for example. First of all, now that we have shows like Andor coming out, we've got a lot of this other stuff. And you've seen the projects in the last couple of years kind of like pop up like, oh, we're going to have this, and then we're not. I'm hoping that with Iger is that we're going to get a little bit more focus when it comes to Star Wars and where it can be. Thankfully, Kevin Feige with the MCU has been still at the helm of all of that and been able to focus it. And I know some of you feel ways about Kathleen Kennedy when it comes to Star Wars. Regardless of what you feel of the sequels, we've still been getting great things. We've been getting The Mandalorian, both seasons, season 3 coming up. We've got Tales of the Jedi. We got Clone Wars season 7, like Rebels. There's been so many projects and movies. Rogue One. I still enjoy Solo. It's not the best, but I think it's a fun ride. But Kathleen Kennedy is a producer. Kathleen Kennedy isn't the creative, but knows kind of where to put some of those energies. I mean, if you look at Kathleen Kennedy's like producer roster, starting with E.T. and all the stuff she's done with Spielberg, with George Lucas, I mean, the roster of like all this, one of my favorites is Jurassic Park. And Kathleen's been at the helm of producing all of these things. So whatever you might say, she is not detrimental to Star Wars. But I definitely think Star Wars, like when the sequels came out, the mixed reception with that, I think they've definitely been doing a lot of rethinking of where they're going with this. Plus, now the push for Disney Plus and getting out a lot of that content allows for a lot kind of a wider, broader storytelling. And I do hope we get films back in the theater, of course, but we're really kind of in a golden age right now. Andor, like tonight, is dropping the season finale. We're getting a season 2 of it. There's so many awesome things coming up that I'm very excited about. And I know a lot of you like rave when it comes to Filoni and Favreau. I love them too, don't get me wrong. But I don't want Filoni in charge of business. I want Filoni in charge of creative. Same thing with Favreau. That's where they excel, being able to kind of guide the storytelling. So like none of them really should take over for Kathleen. Kathleen is on the business side of things, and we need Favreau and Filoni on the creative side of things so we can get that really good content. But I like what they've been doing, like Tony Gilroy doing Andor, giving us a different flavor, because if everything was Favreau and Filoni, we would never have any diversity when it comes to storytelling and the type of storytelling or what we see, who we see on screen. Again, representation. We're seeing a lot more grounded storytelling when it comes to Andor that relates to real world problems that we've seen in anything else. When it comes to the fantastical side of things, when it comes to things like Mandalorians or Jedi, it kind of, you can get some of that storytelling, but it's much more mystical and mystery in a lot of that, rather than kind of real world of what we're seeing. But I'm excited about Iger coming back. Obviously, both being a Disney fan, a Star Wars fan, MCU fan, and a theme park fan. Pointing to a theme park. It's that way, by the way. You know, I'm gonna be at Disney this week, and I think there's just gonna be a different feel. I can't wait to talk to some of the cast members and just kind of get their vibe for what all is happening. And I know, like, you know, my friends that work at Disney, like, they're super ecstatic, but like to see people's attitudes change in the park, that'll be super awesome. But I'm looking forward to the changes. I don't think it'll fix everything. Oh yeah, here's the Dear DMED employees. Let's go ahead and read this. This is from Iger. As we embark on the transformative work that I mentioned to you in my email last night, I want to begin by offering my sincere appreciation and gratitude to each and every one of you. Okay, yeah, this is going on. I'm going to skip ahead. A lot of changes. This is a moment of great change and opportunity for our company as we begin our second century. Oh, wow, like that's some big speak. Proud of leading the team again. Can't say enough. I'm incredibly grateful for the tremendous work you do. Again, it's really going back to that idea that there's that appreciation of the employees and the work that they do. And again, seeing them as more of creatives and the people who make things run. I mean, the whole thing with Disneyland is like you call people cast members instead of employees. The fact that they are a part of this thing and they're helping create this idea, and that's what Disney thrives on. And when you don't treat them that way, that's when a lot of it changes. I mean, going to the parks and hearing the employees call Bob Chapek Bob Paycheck. Yeah, I heard that several times. First of all, it was hilarious, but also that was just the attitude of what's going on. So I'm really curious what you all think. Let me know in the comments. And I know we're going to get mixed reactions. There's going to be people that hate Disney. There's going to be people that don't think there's going to be change. But I'm curious, again, what your reactions are. Let me know in the comments. And tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling on all of this. I know a lot of people are excited, but if you're not, don't be afraid to express that. But in a let's do this in a civil manner as opposed to a spewing kind of manner on either side of things. But the more we can treat each other with respect, the better. Because I know comments in this type of genre can get a little like, But anyway, I want to know what you think, what you feel. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. And of course, going to be coming out with my Andor season finale reaction. Got some like Galaxy's Edge stuff coming up. Got some general Star Wars stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. And thanks for joining along. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next video. Fulcrum out.